Thank you so much for choosing to be here. There's been a lot to get here today. I was having a very intense couple session, but I am just so glad that we're here now. How are we doing? Kindly share your name and your location. Your name and your location. Right, to be sure that we're on the same place. We're on the same page. You can hear me. Let me know how that is going. We have a lot of grounds to cover today, actually, so God would help us to go through with this because we do have a lot of grounds to cover. So in the chat, it's very easy. Just share your name and your location. We're going to really dive right into it. We don't have a lot of time for a lot of extra greetings because we have a lot of things to do. Welcome, your name and your location, please, so that I can identify you correctly. Okay, Modupe from where? Modupe is joining us from where? Okay, I need to be sure that my coordinator is here. My event coordinator. If you are here, I need these questions numbered. So the questions that I have received, I need them numbered. I need to know where one ends, where one starts and where one ends. So yes, you are here. Thank you. So question 1, 2, 3, 4. I need it numbered. Yes, I can't work with this paragraph because I'm not sure where one question is starting and where the other one is ending. So I trust you'll be working on that while I go straight to the teaching for today. I do hope that a lot more people join this live event because I could have easily made this a YouTube recording, which is easier for me, way easier. But I made this a live event rather than a YouTube recording that could have been premiered because it is important to also have interactions with you. And so you can use the chat box to share and interact with me too. This is an interactive conversation, so you don't need to make it just one way because that's not the essence. I have a lot of YouTube videos. I can as well just record these as well and you watch, but we need to talk. That's why we're here. Father, we thank you for today's program. We thank you for this is the day that you have made. We rejoice and we are glad in it. We commit today's program unto your hands, Lord. We trust you, Father. We thank you for the opportunity to have a day on earth where we celebrate love. We thank you, Father, for the opportunity to also use this avenue to celebrate romantic love, relationships, and marriages. We thank you because romantic love, relationship, marriages is a thing that you originally originated. It is your good pleasure that we have romantic relationships and, more importantly, marriages in our lives. We thank you because you will direct us through today's program on how to go about it in today's generation where it is becoming increasingly difficult. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Okay. It's only one person that has shared their name, Modupe. So could you kindly share where you are listening in from? Okay, Folakem from Cyprus. Thank you. Lagos. So I'm not saying, because I would not know how to address you. You know, some people's name is at XXX. So please let me address you honorably. The only way to do that is to be able to see your name, to share your name, and please your location. So on the flyer of this event, we have got some promises to you, and I just want to get right into some of these promises. If you can go and check the flyer, one of the things that we shared that we're going to talk about is how to understand the trends that is making more men choose singlehood over marriage in the 21st century. And if you have been following my journey, this journey of helping women meet and marry their husband, you see that over the years the messages have continued to evolve. There was once upon a time, and the foundation of the message is still the same: to help equip and empower women on the journey to meeting their husband. However, different messages and different seasons, different messages. My YouTube channel is there for you to explore. There's the Meet Your Husband playlist, and you can go and see what I'm talking about there. Now, one of the reasons why marriage has become increasingly difficult, even though it is not a thing that was ever difficult in the past. I'm not even talking about people getting it wrong or right. We're not even talking about wrong or right in this generation. We're talking about that. It's like people are not looking to get married. Some people, of course, because many people are still getting married, and you are part of those some people. It's because of some of the following things. This trend, I shared 7 trends that is making men choose singlehood in the 21st century. So you can look at that. You can look for that on my YouTube channel and get right into it. That's not what I won't be repeating that in today's session. I want to just talk to you, or I'll be elaborating. I'll be climbing off of that, building off of that, to understand the trends making men choose singlehood over marriage. Why is this important? Because the average man, if he just wanted to marry his childhood sweetheart in the year 2016 or in 2006, doesn't think that way again. It is quite unfortunate, but there's proof, because you are seeing even pastors encouraging their church members, their church boys, their church men. So this is how serious it has gotten, where you see pastors just take a detour from the message, just start encouraging their men, and why don't you do this? You start giving all those encouragements. These were things that it wasn't. If you look at the fathers of the faith, for those who follow Christian ministry, like these people, they just got married and they moved on with their wives towards their vision. Like, they didn't need an encouragement, they didn't need a special declaration. It wasn't that situation. You picked a lady, you got married, you got this moving. Like, we don't need to have a conference because you want to get married. But unfortunately, times have changed, and even people who are even Christian leaders, thought leaders, some of these people are even currently single. Some of these people are also single, and some of these reasons are some of the things that is holding them back. Number one, I want you to, as you have clarifications or if you have questions, I want you to share in the chat box below, but I'll just go right into the teaching. I may not be able to cover everything, but it is fine. We can continue to cover the other things with YouTube video. For today, I really want to concentrate and focus on your question. And I trust that my event coordinator is already helping to put some of those questions in a structured order with the numbers, so that we can actually have the reason for this live, which is the heart to heart. One of the, I won't say number 1, number 2, number 3, because I'm not going in that order. I'll just cover a few points. So marriage is no longer socially compulsory, And it's not like anybody was, that's the first point, it's not like anybody was being whipped for not getting married in the past. But like I said in one of my videos, and in one of the cutout that so many people loved and were sharing with their friends, it used to be so honorable for a man to get married in the past. Like, getting married, you were so admired. Like, even you have this societal perception, then there was the status, and it, at a point, I don't know if it's still so right now statistically, it used to also impact on how much a man can earn because of his marital status. So marital status covered a whole lot of things beyond just liking somebody and getting together with them. Like, it just came with all of these benefits that society really appreciated. However, and that takes me to the next point immediately, I'll be intertwining points from time to time. Feminism has changed the gender expectations. Now, you need to go and get the recap of my teaching on what the Bible says about feminism. I'm definitely not going into that here. We're getting it ready in an ebook, so you can always send a message later to get that if you want to really grasp this whole feminism matter, how it started and all that. But feminism, when it started, its motive was right. I'm talking about the what is making more men choose singlehood over marriage in 21st century. That's where we are. The motive was good, which is what, to give a voice really to women, because they had no voice, and because these women had no voice, then they had no power, rights, voting rights, and all of those things. That was really weird, because like the touch and the perspective of a woman is very important to make any nation or the world move forward. So the people who started what has now been considered the first wave of feminism, this was their intent. Like, they were going through real struggles. They were really going through a lot. And these were the things that they were fighting for. The problem with our world is that sometimes people do not know when to close out a thing, when to balance off a thing, or when to say the era of a thing has expired. Like, this is the era and it has done its job. It's now time to close it. We ought to learn how to be able to do that in the world that we live in today, or at least, if a thing is still on, improve on it, on what exactly that problem still is, so that we can start solving it. But what happened is that, so feminism, the wave blew out and started to solve a lot of those problems, like giving women a voice. And then, depending on the wave, second wave, third wave, you have different waves of feminism treating different problems, specific problems. These problems started getting solved a lot, especially in the western parts of different parts of the world. The problem is, many people continue to hammer on certain waves of feminism that had already been dealt with, number one, with certain waves and in certain region, and number two, then you had the infiltrators that definitely had ulterior motives, or were a bit confused about what that situation should be about, and they came and turned everything upside down. And now the average person doesn't even know what feminism is. The person is confused. Like, what is exactly is feminism? And that is why, by the grace of God, I took out time via the ministry that I'm privileged to lead to teach on that topic extensively. So you need to understand that if you're on the journey to even meeting your husband, you need to understand how feminism has played a role. Because now men are not quite sure how they fit into women's lives, because there are all these loud campaigns of women can do it all, women own it all, women have, was that the essence of feminism? Was it for women to be able to do it all, for them to have it all, for them, was that the whole essence? And so the whole purpose have been abused. In the middle of that, marital expectations, gender expectations started getting confused, and before you know it, like, when people start getting confused and there's lack of clarity, then they stay back. Fear mostly holding them backward. These are some of the issues, from marriage not longer being socially compulsory to feminism changing gender expectation, that has been holding men back. And I'm talking about God-led men. Please, if you've watched any of my video, you know I talk about God-led men. I'm talking about men who, I'm not talking about perfect men, but I'm talking about men who have no business with marriage or are not interested in getting married. Please, these are not the men we talk about. That I'm not married to such a man. I do not have friends married to such men. My daughter is not going to be married to such a man, so I'm not going to come out to share and about such men, because I will give account to God of the work that I do. So I take what I do very seriously. And please, when I talk about men, I'm talking about God-led men. And that is why today, if you're listening or if you're watching the replay, you have to also be a God-led woman if you really would want God to entrust the heart of his son into your care as well. As in, really be a God-led woman, like really love God. I'm not talking about what your friends think about you. I mean what God thinks about you, not what your church members think about you. I'm talking about what God thinks about you. My coordinator, let's see if we can have more of our friends join in, because they're missing on a lot. And once we go into the questions, which we would soon, it will be good that everybody that asks their question can actually listen to it live. Thank you and well done. So that's that about feminism and the socially compulsory part of marriage. Next point is social media has created an illusion of options. Again, why is this? Why are we treating trends making more men choose singlehood? So that we can understand how to even converse with the men in our lives. So that you can be a person who, once a man has approached you, has gathered the courage to approach you, you already are able to perceive his fear, and you're also able to speak to it, not from a desperate point of view, but from a place of understanding, because men don't need this assurance. And I know that there is a lot of, oh, men this, men that, and men should man up and all that. It's nice. It's really, I mean, men should do what they need to do as God has created them to do it. And we speak about that in that Bible study, actually, the role of men, just a bit about it. However, it's very important to remember that these people are humans. I think sometimes, a lot of times, women, especially for men who have treated them badly, especially with this whole feminism situation, they forget that it is the devil and the enemy that really uses people, and he can use any gender. If you're a person who watches crime and investigation a lot, you'll know that men and women can be terrible people. Men and women can be terrible people. Like, it's not a men thing, it's like a man and a woman thing. It's like a man and a woman's thing. So you have to understand that there are also humans who also, at this particular point, more than ever, they actually need reassurance, especially this generation when it comes to marriage. Reassurance for what? Reassurance that they are in it for the right, with the right person, for the right reason. And we have a lot of ladies who are increasingly getting married for selfish interests, either to complete a profile, to step up their career game, or to create a certain persona, to make people respect them or appreciate them more. And there was a chat that was circulating just last year about this. It's a proof where I need to do some of these commentaries, honestly speaking. I need to find the time to get on some of these commentaries so I can use it to teach. The lady was chatting with her friends. It happened to leak. I'm just wondering how that chat even leaked. The lady was discussing with her friend about how she just want to get into a marriage with a man, and after 1 year or two, is it 1 year or so, get pregnant or something, get a child and get out. Yes, I mean, like, it's a real chat. It's not doctored. It's not AI. Today, I don't know if we've heard from those. I think they just disabled their accounts and disappeared, because everything that was circulating around the internet about these ladies was really shameful. And why am I sharing that? That was another chat that instigated fear in men again. Maybe not women this time, but men. So more men are wondering, oh, okay, you just need my sperm. You don't want my authority. You don't want my leadership. You don't want my warmth, my love. You don't want my direction and leading in our home. You don't want my companionship. You want to just get married to get my name and to be like in a certain league of what married women successful, or what is that about? So men are beginning to be a bit more patient, even slow. We can use the word slow, just because these things they're trying to sort it out. And there are a lot of great women, and I know that we have very many great women here. I'm just letting you know what the reality is of the 21st century. So when you're having conversations, it's not time to say, to be having conversation, what are you wearing? There's no time for that again. Because once people are having conversations like that, they're wasting your time. They don't want you. You want to start having conversations that are speaking to the fear of what may be holding a person down from getting married. Maybe you be their preliminary counselor before they say counselor. Let me know if you're following through the chat and what you're getting so far. Let me see if I can take 2 more points. So we have the fear of disrespect. More men are afraid of being disrespected. They're afraid of being disrespected. They're afraid of not being valued as a person who is leading their home. And so they're beginning to wonder, if a woman is not going to value my leadership, is there even any need for me to get married to her? And we can give so many examples of what is going on regarding that. The thing is, when it comes to marriage, there is a hierarchy, there's an order. And what the world preaches, the world continues to bend and want to tilt that order in a way to make it worldly. But you have to remember, if you care for marriage, that marriage is not a worldly concept. It's not an AI generated concept. It was not founded by any big person. Marriage as the institution was founded by God. Still is founded by God. So the thing is, if you want to do marriage, you have to do marriage God's way. And like every other thing in the world, doing things God's way is not always popular or appreciated or applauded. It's going to go against the norm. Many people are going to try to bend things. Many people are going to try to crack things. You have to be careful to not slip into the wave of wanting to just feel good or feel among or just flow with what everybody is saying without biblically challenging it. Then we have increased competition instead of cooperation. So what we now see is we are now seeing more people. The whole essence of women being equal in the world with men is for collaboration and cooperation. It was not supposed to be a competition thing. Women, it's like we're not fighting, we're not in a war zone. It was supposed to be a collaboration thing. And it is true that many people have continued to look down on women. By all means, let us tackle such things, but let's tackle it independently. Let's not throw away the baby and the bathwater like they usually would say. So what we have seen is that women have then now turned the whole cooperating concept that we're supposed to do with men into competition, and it has turned messy in some areas. It's interesting. And we have unrealistic social media standards. Unrealistic social media standards. Thank you for contributing, Abimbola. And I'm even skipping some part of my notes. You see the full note that I have here, but God will help us. Unrealistic social media standards. You know, in the past, like in our grandma's days, in our mother, maybe not mother, it depends on the age of your mom, but grandma's days and some of our mothers, let me see. Some of our mothers, like, you didn't assess a man based on his followers. You didn't assess a man based on his personal brand. You didn't, like, there was more. You were looking more to learn about the man's heart, to learn about his love for people, what he likes to do, his work, his religion, so on and so forth. Like, people wanted to know people for people. But unfortunately, we have moved into a world where people now assess the idea of a person before they actually get to know the person. This is what I mean. Because you know a person's personal brand doesn't mean that you know them personally. In the world that we live in today, it's still going to take another layer for you to unpack them personally. A lot of women are passing off of men because they don't have followers, are not on social media, or are not popular. So they don't even, they pay them no mind. They do not give them any attention. And it just shows in how this kind of women treat people generally. They want a man with like 10k followers and above to send them a message. But meanwhile, there's this guy with 500 followers that really has the stuff that will move your family's future forward. The question is, how many people would easily accept a request from a 500 follower guy and start chatting with him? The guy doesn't have like all this your idea of what a personal brand should be. It's a guy who works, who is hardworking, but it's not like, oh, posting all his life on social media. People have seen this increasingly over and over again, and that's why some guys are increasingly going to dating apps. And I speak about that in one of the videos that is on my YouTube channel, so you may want to take out time to go there. Men are actually going to dating apps because they believe that that's a leveling ground, and that's why dating apps is a conversation. But please don't just listen to what I'm saying, that dating apps, you need to know how to use dating apps, please. So you won't just say, oh, say dating apps is I already have a conversation or a course. It's a course about how to date on dating app as a godly woman. So please don't fly into this thing. How then you come out and say, oh, there are a lot of, people, somebody did a testimonial yesterday. I didn't even know that somebody that I know, literally a friend, a best friend, got married from the dating app. These things are real. This is my field. If you don't know how to get into it, or you're afraid, this is why you should book a session and talk about these things. It's not that you just sit down from afar and just be like, oh, well, these things don't work. No data, no not, because two people told you that they were disappointed. Then all of a sudden, it doesn't work for everybody in the whole wide world. That's not how life goes, please. So let's see if we can take one more. So yes, there is okay, let's do two more. Masculine energy in relationships. Unfortunately, this one self, even trauma from growing up. Some people, their parents were not there for them, father wasn't there for them, so they just had to take up the role. That masculine, they had to hustle it out, they had to find a way. So the masculine energy in relationship is something that needs to be checked. And I remember I was watching one of my earlier videos when I started Just Meet Your Husband. They're helping women meet and marry their husband, successful single women. And one of the things that I was saying in that particular video was, also, I think somebody liked it, was an old shot that came back, was the importance of having a bird's eye view or having a third opinion to really see if the way you think about yourself is all there is. And this is why, like, there's a coach like me who exists. So when you sit down in such confidential and vulnerable sessions, you share, and then you also get to see your blind spots. This idea where, oh, you're all knowing, you're all perfect, it's not you, it's him. We need to stop it, because you're probably surrounded by people who are always saying, you go girl, it's not you. Like all they have for you is praise. There's no radical candor. They are always, you can Google what that means. Yeah, just write it down. Radical candor. There's no radical candor. All they do is praise you and just greet you. That's a problem. Oh, if you don't have people who correct you, who say no, this is not. Oh, they just praise you. Well done. That's all there is. You're not in a growth-based environment. Everything about you cannot all be perfect. We continue to grow daily. There's always something to improve on. So the masculine energy comes from a place where women or wives to be are trying to lead. And I know that sometimes, based on private sessions rather, it comes because some men are not able to lead, they are not moving forward. Well, this is why we now have coaching and therapy in the 21st century. I have to tell you, some of these things just has to be tackled out here. It just has to be. I know in the past, everybody used to run to therapy or coaching first thing. But like Dr. Sidney Tripp said, the world we're born into does not exist anymore. I know your mommy did not go for coaching and your grandpa did not go for counseling. but we're not in your grandma and grandpa's era. So these are some of the things that I continue to reiterate it. And that Dr. Sadie Trim's quote is one of my favorites when I'm speaking to help wives meet and marry their husband and husband meet and marry their wife, because we're just not in that world anymore. And it's not from a place of, it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying this like, oh, it's a bad thing, or we're now doomed. No. But the world of AI, Web 3.0, like it, all things being equal, should be a better world, even though we're getting closer to the end time. That's a different conversation entirely. I mean, things have significantly improved. Things that used to kill people before medically, for instance, now has a cure. So all of those things are the things why we should thank God and be grateful that we're in a better era. However, things have also changed relationally. For instance, once upon a time, you couldn't trust somebody to say, oh, I'll come and teach you something, and you'll be looking at the person. Like, people probably did not even imagine that, I'll be in the comfort of my room, like you probably are, or my house, or my library, and somebody will be teaching me through a screen, and I'll be looking. If we told that to our mothers or grandparents, they'll be wondering, like, are you serious? No, a lot of people had to travel to get things like this. But of course, the world has changed. You can now get an online degree, like literally. So these are things that we need to learn to be able to know. These are the solutions. If you feel that you're getting that or you're not sure, then you book a session. You book a session. Let's do one more. I don't need a man messaging. Let's do that to move on from the trend. If I don't move my notes forward, I will be there. But let me move my notes forward to the next thing. So I don't need a man messaging. I have a video that speaks about how your profile picture is repelling men from you. That's probably not how I put the title, but you see it in the Meet Your Husband playlist, and you should go and watch it. Because let me tell you something, your profile, public profile, all things being equal, because a lot of people are going to meet virtually in this day and age, is one of the first ways that the person gets to interact with you and gets to have an idea of you. Yes, they don't know you, but at least they have an idea of you. Let it be something that speaks femininity. Let it be something that speaks, not it may, if it depends on how. That's why you also, and I have this self-discovery course, you also need to understand who are you. There's a course I have, the customized you. I have another bundle, the irresistible woman. These are things that I have set ready for you to purchase and just get started consuming, because you need to know your own uniqueness, and you need to sit in it. Not everybody is soft spoken, not every, no, and that doesn't now mean that, oh, those are married, those are the marriageable kind of women. You might not be soft spoken, but we can get you into your element, we can get you into your uniqueness, and that is the way you'll be able to know how to position, because you understand, you are aware. Okay, welcome to, don't worry, they'll put on the alternative power supply, but I'm going to go on. You are aware, of the uniqueness that you carry. Do you see? Let me see if I can put in some. You are aware of the uniqueness that you carry. And uniqueness that you carry is an important part to now knowing which kind of man is the right kind of man for you. Because there are different kinds of men. Not all men are macho, deep voice. I hope you know that there are men with like light voices. There are men who are not too tall. There are men who do not have muscles. Do you get, like, we have men like that? So every man is going to be different for every woman. So you're understanding your uniqueness, your irresistibility, understanding your uniqueness is going to help you understand which kind of man you should be attracting, and when they come, what kind of man is the right one for you. So it's not when the men are coming that the confusion is now going to, so you'll not be wondering, oh, who is for me. Some people are really in this, who am I supposed to get married to question, because that uniqueness part, they have skipped it. I get people from time to time who come into my DM or who reach out, and all they want to do is, I want to meet people. I want to meet people. I tell people, I have people for you to meet. And I always have people who want to meet. I always have single people. I always have meeting people is not a problem. But you have to understand that there's a reason why I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. Maybe your auntie can just help you meet somebody straight up. It doesn't work that way when you're working with me. I have to understand who you are. Personally, I won't use my integrity and my reputation to just go and match you with somebody when I don't even know who you are. And so a person say, I want to meet somebody. You can't just meet anybody. Let's even understand, who are you? What kind of man should you be meeting? Where are the men that you should be meeting? What kind of men should you be meeting, and where are they located? I hope you know that there are some people who would do fine with getting married to military men, Navy, Air Force, the ones on land, soldiers, and then they are going to be away for months and they'll be okay. It's not like they're not cheating in their marriage or anything. They are doing well as wives. They are doing what they need to do. If they have children, they're taking care of the children when the man is not around. They're holding things down. Versus there's some people, they must come to their husband. Like, it must be me and my husband ministry. So some of these things, understanding your attachment styles, all these are important things, so that you now know, okay, who are the kind of people that I should even get married to. And there's some women, they're just like, listen, I want to build a great home with a man. The other day I was asking one time, have you guys even considered getting married to men in the force? Some people don't even look there. But if you understand your personality and if you understand your type of person, you may be a very fantastic wife for a man in the force. Yes, a man in the police force, in the armed forces. These men are never around, though. They're always serving the country, and the country you are in, that you are a citizen of, perhaps. But the point is to understand your mission. Could your mission also be to also be a partner, but also be a wife to such people or to such a person? This is why understanding you is really, really important. And so I started to talk about this from the place of this, where we say, I don't need a man messaging. The way you put out yourself and the way you put out you put out maybe your picture, your aura, what you're saying in the comment section, all of those things speak volumes. You don't need to say, I don't need a man with all of your mouths. I will expect questions if you have. Let's move on to the next thing. So I said you receive the recipes and secrets to becoming an irresistible woman and future wife without losing your peace, convictions, and your values. Now let's examine some of those things. So we have a whole irresistible woman course. You can get back to us via our WhatsApp channel or just comment under this video and we will share with you how to access that. Before I go on to speak about some of these recipes that I want to share as promised to you, more than ever today, because of the kind of world that we live in, we have to do these discoveries. Yes, you can ask questions, but I'm coming. I want to finish my teaching. I want to finish in fact, I'll finish some of my teaching. I don't know if I can even touch A to Z of irresistibility today, but I don't know. Maybe I'll just touch A to something, but I'm not sure if I can finish it all. But it's fine. That's why the community exists. So as I was saying the understanding yourself is a big part of it. While you are busy thinking that, oh, it's just women that are attending programs, you are the only one that is thinking so, because there's a lot of men that are attending a lot of virtual programs. They're not stepping out of their houses, but they are developing themselves. I know these men. Don't be say like I know them. So you better focus on building your own self for the kind of man that you believe that you're built to attract, and forget looking at people who are not serious. Stop comparing yourself with people who are not serious around you. And I hope that you also do not have biases holding you. 1 year during the Meet Your Husband, when I started to teach this, not when I started, but in my journey of teaching this, I really sat in with biases. A lot of women have biases. They will not go further to talk with a man because they've already perceived him to be this and that without even going to learn more about him deeper. So that could also be blocking you from meeting and marrying your husband, the biases you have. So, irresistibility in the 21st century. What are some of the recipes and secrets? Number one, a peaceful presence. A peaceful presence does not mean being a personality who does not talk. Because there's this picture of the virtuous woman where people think does not talk, does not fight for her rights, is always quiet. No, that is what the media, maybe the Christian media, has painted. But you can be a person who is a lawyer, but you carry a peaceful presence. You train yourself, because law as a career, for instance, is one that can be very aggressive, can, especially depending on the branch of law that you are passionate about practicing in. You have to be able to know how to alternate and maintain a peaceful presence. And this is one that, number one, working with God would help you do. And number two, sitting into trainings like this. There's a reason why trainings like this exist, where coaches like me exist, the coach like me exists teaching you this. So if if you're unsure that you have a peaceful presence, you probably may not have a peaceful presence, and you may need to find out. Then femininity. Femininity is really, honestly, femininity is not opening your breast and your bum bum, because I don't really know what people are doing nowadays. You can be feminine and you can be fully clothed. Again, all of these things is in the training. It is how you speak, how you carry yourself, how you share opinions. We see a lot of like very male, very masculine energy women in our generation. To just look at the comment section, you just know that in this Nigeria there are many masculine energy women. Because look at the comment section and the way people are always fighting about matters. Feminine energy disappeared. Disappeared. It is gone. So you need to maintain that. And a feminine person is not a person who does not talk or who does not share opinion. Like I said, there's a method, there's a way to share it according to your personality. I'm not a soft-spoken person, so there's a way to share this according. You need to know yourself, so that you go and start forcing yourself to be. I remember Joyce Meyer, when I used to read her books, the earlier a lot of her books. There was a time I bought a lot of her books and I was just reading it back to back. She said her voice, they told her that that's not how she was sounding like a man. That's not how it's supposed to be. Like, so she would try to soften her voice, like just giving an example, like the Laura in her compound, and it just wasn't working for her. Like this softness that everybody wanted from this woman minister was not working, until of course she was confident in the person that God had called her to be. So I shared that. That's if you know just me. Anyways, I shared that to say that everybody is not going to be sounding. I don't expect you to sound alike or do the same hair. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about understanding and operating from your place of strength. Then stability. You need to be stable. A lot of people are so indecisive, like it is troubling. The indecision situation in our world today is so troubling. By the grace of God, God helped me to create a framework, your decision making framework. Yeah, because it's like people don't know how to make decisions and stick to it anymore. It's like they're all over the place. They're all over the place. They don't, today they are here, tomorrow they are there. Like they don't even know what it is that they want, and it is troubling. So that stability also starts from decisions and following through with decisions. Spiritual depth is one we cannot overemphasize, but I must say that the proof of your spiritual depth is in your fruits. You have to be able to bear fruits that shows that you're a spiritual person. It's not by staying all night, all day without bearing any fruit, yet you're still an angry person, or you are still having sex outside of marriage. Like, I don't know the depth spiritually if you are not obeying God's word. The proof of your spiritual depth in God is obedience to His word. Selah. Then we have wisdom, warmth rather, self-respect, boundaries. You should, if you're in a relationship, be able to keep a man, or make, I'm looking for the right word, but the point is, a man should not just have access to you just like that, like he just has access. You should be able to make him want to take you home to mama. That's the point. And I use the word make, I underline, because you don't force anybody to do anything, but I'm saying that the way you carry yourself should, let's use the right word, I just got it, motivate is the word. Motivate, because you can't make anybody do anything, but you can motivate, you can inspire. To when you say take home to mama, of course I'm sure you get what that's a saying for actually getting married to the person. So your presence should be able to motivate the men in your life to want to marry you, and that means not accommodating things like cohabiting, not even tolerating it, not even listening to such suggestions, and so many other things. Sex outside of relationship, outside of marriage rather, now people are beginning to come up with scientific studies. I'm telling you, I saw one the other day. I've not had time to watch it on YouTube, but I will. Scientific studies that shows that people having sex before marriage, they are already building their ruin. And that's not the only thing that shows. You can be in a relationship without sex, and then nothing is working out. So I'm not saying, oh, it's by sex, it's by not having sex, or it's by having sex. What I'm trying to say is that it's an important part to just keep away until you both are really committed to each other. A man likes to marry the woman who he feels at home with. A man wants to get married to a woman who he feels at home with. And that's why when there are all of these arguments online, I just shake my head. I will not cook. I cannot cook. I cannot. As in, if you guys love each other and you are really there to serve each other, these things are not things, first of all, that will come online as an online conversation. It would be a thing that you are serving, you enjoy and you love serving your partner with. It's a thing that you serve your partner. It's not going to be a fighting match. I will not cook, I will show. Like, it has become so much of an argument now because people do not truly love each other. Maybe they love the idea of each other, or they just love one aspect, but they don't really love each other. If you love somebody, you want to cook for them. The problem is maybe the wife is doing the cooking, the husband is not reciprocating, and these are the things that causes resentment. Sorry, that's a different case we should be treating in the marriage and family therapy private session. But it's not that, oh, it should be a hard and fast rule. First of all, you can't go into anybody's home to decide what they want to do, who wants to cook, who doesn't want to cook, and how they want to do it. So this one that we're now creating general rules and regulation, like we're in boarding house, is something that you need to remove yourself from. And be careful to not just be mouthing things that every other person is mouthing. Because the truth is, if you see somebody, if you meet somebody that you truly love, all the things you think you will not do, you will do it. I mean, positive things. You will. You are going to do it. I was asking the other day, I asked a question the other day, I think about 1 year ago, that if you marry a man like Apostle Joshua Selman, are you going to be doing all this and that? I got a lot of responses. I need to even look for where those responses are. I don't know if we documented it. We probably would have, but I just need to find it. Now, all this cooking that everybody's always shouting, like if you marry a man like Apostle Joshua Selman now, like you would, like for real, that's the kind of person, or that's the, in terms of status and all that God has called to be your husband, would you argue? The answer is no. It's not going to be like an argument. I think it has to do with, number one, the kind of men that, the quality of men that some women are ending up with, then the men not showing kindness, then people not truly loving each other. People are loving their bodies, people are loving their monies, people are loving their status, people are loving their personal brands, but they are not truly loving each other. And that's a different teaching entirely. I don't want to go into that. So that is for me delivering the recipes to becoming an irresistible woman. Just a glimpse, because we have a full course addressing that. I said I was going to share with you in the flyer, trying to keep to our promise, the simple steps to meeting your husband in 1 to 3 years without looking desperate. Of course, we have a course, Meet Your Husband in 1 year or less. We actually have that course. So if you're interested, please, let's get on into it. And if you're at the particular point that maybe you do not have a budget for courses and all that, then you should really sit with the Meet Your Husband playlist. Honestly, if you sit with it, your life cannot remain the same in 20. It's not possible. It is not possible. Like, it is not possible. It is not. So you pick one. Some people don't have time, so they pay me heavily to sit with them and just take them, hand hold them through the process. And I can do that for you if you have the investment. Then there are some courses that are intermediate courses. They're not expensive courses, so you can jump right into it, like the 14 days challenge. I love the 14-day Valentine themed challenge, and I hope you're going to be a part of the one that we're going to be getting started like immediately after. I'll talk more about it before I go to the Q&A. I love the 14-day challenge is really outstanding because it is practical things that will get you closer to meeting your husband. Number one. Number two, is one of like the cheapest courses you can access that would actually make you take practical steps. I'm not talking, it's not teaching, no. It's a challenge. You know what they call it? Challenge. Like you're going to do things. Day one, you are doing things this. Day two, you're it's not, I'm not coming to teach you. It's not teaching. It's not a 14-day teaching. It's not a 14-day course. It's not a 14-day coaching program. It is a challenge, and you can access it at a really good fee. It's one of like our cheapest courses, but that has so much depth. Yeah, it has so much depth because people are like, wow, I started the conversation with this person, I didn't even think of this, and I love it. I love it. So let me finish the opportunity to talk about it before I talk about my deliverable, my next delivery, which is simple steps. So you can register for the 14 Valentine themed challenge, which will be starting very soon. It's $25 and 25,000 naira only. I say only because compared to the other courses or other access coaching programs, it is the cheapest. It's like the chicken change of it. Yes, it is literally the chicken change of it, and this is something that will move you closer. There are challenges, there are steps you will take, and you take these steps from the comfort of your home. Some of the things, if you can move beyond the comfort of your home, that will be good for you. So don't worry, you don't need to travel, you don't need to buy an external device, you don't need to don't feel like, oh, maybe when I go, if they go and attempt to buy a scarf or something. No, once you step into the challenge, you make your payment, you get started with the challenges, and you start executing them, and you'll be discussing your results on the group. So I encourage you to be a part of it. It's really good, though. It's really good. It's one of the best original ideas that the Holy Spirit has conceived through me. It's good. I'm telling you that it is good. So please register immediately after this program. We'll share more about that in the community. So what are the steps to meeting your husband in 1 to 3 years without looking desperate? Of course, finding yourself and becoming the woman that deserves the man that she desires. Becoming the woman that deserves the man that she desires. I believe that some of this nuggets needs to be written down. Admin, these are some good nuggets that we should revisit later. Even though the replay will be available, there are still good nuggets that need to be revisited later. So you have to become the woman that deserves the man that she desires. And this man exists. When I talk about bias, people think it's the same thing as lowering standards, and I have a video that talks about the difference between working on your bias versus lowering your standards. I have many videos. Oh. I have many videos on this matter, and I'm grateful to God for that. So you can look for that on YouTube, but you need to become that woman. And honestly, the kind of women that I work with are women who are already becoming. Like I said, you can be becoming, like, be thriving in your business, be growing in your followership, but you may not have sat deeply into the personality and into understanding your uniqueness. You need to do that into year 2026. Then you need to position to where marriage-minded people are. And this is where I talk about dating apps and how to use it. Then these are some of the things that the 14-day Valentine themed challenge will address. Even in communities, some people don't even know how to roll. They don't even know how to move. They're just there. They're just there using silent hearts. They'll just be liking the things as if they're in a secret space. Be liking things silently. This is the time where you talk, not to be loud, but you see something that touches deeply, you discuss, you share your perspective. People grow and navigate towards people who they believe is sharing a perspective that they like or that resonates with them. But you don't talk, you're always pressing that one that I don't know why WhatsApp brought that thing. That one that you just press like. You're not looking for who are the people that liked it, or you can do better. So positioning also speaks about how you coordinate yourself in such communities. And about chasing people, it's about moving from a place of rest, which, by the way, I have a material coming out on how to really sit into the rest. There's a rest model on how to go about things in terms of meeting and marrying your husband. Then you need to look approachable, both online and offline. Some people are not approachable. You pray to God to give you a presence of serenity, peace, and calm, no matter your kind of personality, so that you look approachable. You look approachable to the right people. Okay? So online, if you have a profile picture that you're doing your face like this, you know all these profile pictures that connote this boss lady. But the boss ladies that you're trying to follow, they're probably not interested in marriage, maybe divorced, or even very married, and they don't, that's not the one that is doing them now. So they frown their face and they take this, what people have tagged boss lady photo. You that you're on the journey to meeting your husband, you go and join and go and take that kind of photo. Then the man comes to your profile and is wondering if he should go ahead with reaching out to you. Maybe he passes. And there's the, oh, if it's for me, it's for... Honestly, let's not even go there. Let's not even go there, because let's not even go there. In the 21st century, it's not, you know, that it's not like there's one person that is tagged to one person. Like, oh, it's not this one person. The marriage can never be. If not, people will not remarry when or if their spouses passes on. Do you see? Or even if they get a divorce in an unfortunate situation. So these are things to look at and learn how to be approachable offline and online. Then of course, participate. I already spoke about participating. Then you pray with strategy. So you pray, then you receive from God on what to do differently. Some people, God has told you to go and work in one organization that is paying you less than another organization, but you say no, you must follow the money. Is that not the trend? Is that not how they say it? You must what? You must follow the money. Now you follow the money, but you forget that God is a long-term God. He put you in that organization, that he was telling you to work in that organization that pays you less, because there's somebody he wants you to meet on the 16th of March 2026 that is going to come to that organization and do business with them. Then you'll meet the person right there where you are, serving in that organization that you have no idea what you're even doing there. So people, it's not that they're no better offers. It's not that God is telling them to do something somewhere, or to start something, or to walk with somebody in a season, or to do this. Just follow God, because he's the one that orchestrates things. But when you don't follow God, people are waiting to hear from God about their husband. They're not even obeying him. Simple, no sex before marriage. do this, don't do that, don't go out today. They're not doing it. I don't know why you now believe marriage with the grand things. Granting, because it is those small decisions that will lead you to the big marital one. So when you pray, are you also obeying God in other areas and arenas of your life? Because that is how God will literally lead you to your husband, or lead your husband to you. Truly, especially if you are doing things God's way. That's good. That's good. For those who have been disobeying God, you know God is speaking to you about something. Never obey. You never. When God is telling you to write a book, God is telling you to start a weird business. You say you should start shoemaking. I just want to watch one again. Which one can be shoemaking? God always has a long-term plan, and I'm not saying everything God asks you to do is not to come and help you to meet your husband. That's God. The thing you should be doing is for God's kingdom. But I'm saying that it's one decision that usually leads to the other. Okay. So the A to Z, what are ways that you can attract your husband from a place of rest? I promised you an A to Z list. I will give A to the one I can give. You know, I've been in a very lengthy couples therapy session today. I'm grateful. It is my pleasure and privilege to actually facilitate sessions. So that's my last call, and I'm so grateful. However, it has been a long day. I must say, I'm really being put together, but it's because of my commitment to you. That is why I'm here, because trust me, like doing this live when I can record is a lot of commitment, but it is you, and I've promised you, and I must keep to my promise. So this is why I hope to see as much engagement once we go into the question and answer. I'm not sure if I've gotten the question admin. If you've resent the questions with the numbers, I need that, because I'm going right into questions immediately. I think maybe I'll just do 10. I'll just do A to J, maybe. Yeah, and then we can always do the other ones in the community. I already have the full A to Z, but I need to answer questions, and I already took a glimpse of some of the questions. The questions have children and grandchildren. Number one, what is one way, of course, using the A to Z model, that you can attract your husband for a place of rest in 2026? You should be authentic. And you cannot be authentic if you don't know who you are. That's what I'm saying. Not everybody is soft-spoken. Not everybody is petite. Not everybody smiles in different ways. So don't go and now become who you are not, because they say you should be feminine. Feminine means different things to different women. To be feminine means different things to different women. So please. Authenticity. People think authenticity is when you say your mind. Authenticity is when you know who you are self-aware, and you're operating from that self-awareness. So you are able to attract the right person, not the wrong person, who, because they heard your soft voice, they think they heard a soft voice or a soft version of your voice, so they think that's all there is to you. Like, that's not, I was just acting a movie. If you're an actress, for instance, this is me. And it is important, even in this is me, we should continue to improve ourselves. Not say, oh, this is me, this is how I am, this is me, take me. That's not what I'm saying. But you want to be authentic, because God has created us uniquely for a reason. And if you are going around faking things, then you're going to attract the wrong person. The person will come to you for the wrong reasons. Then, of course, the number two, or B, would be maintaining boundaries, and also continually growing in your journey. Continually growing your journey and maintaining boundaries. In today's world, where people are so desperate and thirsty to get anything done, a woman who is able to maintain boundaries to get things done the right and proper way is a person who is definitely going to attract. You know, men are seeing so much skin and sex nowadays. I'm telling you, they're going to start being attracted to people who actually have something to cover. So maintain boundaries with your body, with how you should be spoken to, and so on and so forth, because it keeps you attractive. Really, it does. Then, of course, being confident. Being confident is a fantastic way of attracting your man. And being confident is not about being loud or being quiet. It's about understanding who you are and who's in that aura. confidence really comes from the inside. It's not only about the dressing. Dressing helps when you already know what you're carrying on the inside. Then carrying yourself, dignity. D is for dignity. Carrying yourself with grace and self-respect. You have to be able to carry yourself with grace, with self-respect, regardless of your weight or your kind of personality. Those are things that are very, very important. You have to be adamant about removing yourself removing yourself from word solution situations. A man doesn't know whether he likes you or he does not like you. Like, dignity is to excuse yourself until he makes up his mind. You're not going to be in the mix of a what now. What is not, somebody should share with me that thing that is a trapezium, maybe how do they pronounce it, that is beyond a triangle. The thing is beyond a triangle. Is more so many women, and like you are one of the no. That can't be you. Please, that cannot be you. Whenever it's ready, it will chase after you. Emotional stability is E, because of course men marry peace. It doesn't matter what they do on the outside. Home is where home, and that's why I wonder why people marry personal brands, marry the glitters, marry the glam, when the person that you're really going to be married to somebody that will remove the hair nets. I'm going to go now. When I go to the house, when I'm done with this and I'm about to relax, and I'm not going to be dressed up like this, lying down and discussing with my husband. I'm going to remove this wig. Like, that's the person he married. He married my personality. He married the woman on the inside. So a lot of people are so fixated on the outside. I'm wondering, but you're not going to be spending time with the outside the way you are thinking. It's the world and the crowd that will be spending time with the outside. The person you're going to marry to is going to be spending time with the inside. So this thing where we are putting so much effort on the outside is really exhausting. Then we have femininity. I already spoke about that, so I will not repeat that. Your warmth. You don't have to be a soft-spoken person, but you can be a warm person. Of course, knowing how to modulate your voice, your voice may be loud, but it doesn't mean you should be a loud person always shouting. Then we have G for the growth mindset. You should always be learning, healing, and evolving. Always. And growth mindset also speaks to adaptability. A person who is also able to understand that a God-led man can come in a different package. God are the days where a God-led man, you just meet him in the church, sitting down with the choir or leading as the music director. That is very, very important, and I'm so thankful to the Holy Spirit for bringing this to my mind right now. You have to have a growth mindset. Some God-led men are not even in church. Yeah, it's true. This is the work. This is my field. I'm telling you. So you have to adapt in such a way that you are walking with God to follow him, and you're not just trying to do the conventional, because that's what everybody said, that's what everybody will be comfortable with, and that's what you want to do. There are stories upon stories of people in church beating themselves, battering themselves. We don't want to get into that. And we're not saying don't go to church. We're saying that you don't need to limit your mindset as to where God. Honestly, you can meet a God-led man in the weirdest of the places you will never have thought. But a growth mindset is somebody that can adapt and is open to knowing that because my sister met or my grandmother met hers this way doesn't mean that that's what will happen for me, because I am growing and I'm evolving, and I know that things are always different. Hospitality, H, speaks to a welcoming heart and spirit. A welcoming heart and spirit. And that really speaks to how you are welcoming to everybody. It should not be only a man or men. If a person reaches out to you, hello, you don't know whether they're male or female, you should already know. You should already have a welcome. You may be speaking to your husband's sister for all you know. So if you're a person who is just brash, always rude, please work on it. Don't say you'll be rude to women, you'll be kind to men, because one day you'll be speaking to your husband's junior sister, you will not even know. That's why you should do this to all men. You should maintain what I'll say integrity, which is consistency between your words and actions at different places at different times. Consistency between your words and actions at different places at different times. Don't be one kind of person at home and that kind of person on the outside. Then joyfulness, J, which is where we'll stop for today. is a woman who is joyful, and you really cannot get joy from waiting for a person to fulfill you. You get joy by following God. You get joy by following God, by obeying His commandments, and really just fellowshipping with Him. More importantly, by understanding what He has called you to do and doing it gracefully, not from a place of competition or trying to be seen, but from a place of understanding that you will give account to the Master, and from a place of wanting to make impact, from a place of wanting to help, from a heart of love and service. This joy part and this part of what I'm talking about is very important, because many people nowadays are doing things because they want to be given awards, they want to be recognized, they want to be applauded, they want to be crowned and enthroned here on earth. And this is not the reason for this impact that God has given. Because of the impact that Jesus was called to give, He died on the cross, that literally crucified Him. So if our Master, if we have an example of our Master, of how when God called Him to do an assignment, people did not even take it, did not embrace it, then why do you think that everything you do must be embraced? This meets your husband. Now, many people have said many things about, oh, this is what you are doing for women. Like, it doesn't even matter. If it's a calling, I'm following it, because guess what? It's God I'm giving accounts to. I'm not giving an account to you. So make sure that, because that's one thing that steals people's joy, make sure that when you serve, whatever it is you're doing, through your career, through a ministry, whether you're co-laboring with somebody else, or you're doing every one of it, or you're building a foundation, whatever it is you're doing, you're serving people, you're traveling, evangelizing, please do it because you love people and you want to serve first, even before money. All of these things that I do now, that I charge, a person can look at my fee and be like, oh, okay. When I started counseling, I was not even anything. Like, I was doing this thing for free. So I've been tested over time. This is something I can still do for free. And from time to time, I give people discounts, because for me, counseling is beyond the money. But for you, you cannot find joy if everything is all about pursuing material things. I'll stop here and get your feedback before I'll go through to the questions. What do you have on your mind? How are you today after today's class? Admin, do we have our people here, or did they travel? Have they gone to sleep? How are we feeling? What have we learned from the class so far before we move to the questions? You can use the chat box. So if this live is not interactive, then it defeats the whole purpose. The reason I went live is to keep this interactive. So are we still here? Yes. Exactly. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Not even just questions, what you learned generally. Yeah, what you learned. Share your comments. That is the essence of this life, for it to be interactive. Now, there are a couple of questions here that are very, very important and interesting. These questions. Okay. So here's what I'll do. I like to give depth to everything that I do, whatever it is that I do. I like to do it well. There seem to be a few people here on the call. Okay. Actually learned that you can meet a godless man the most. Oh yes. You can meet a God-led man in the most unexpected place. 100%. Especially in today's world. Because nowadays, in today's world, church boys are not even ready to get married. So their pastor too is motivating them. And there are a lot of people that are God-led. God-led does not mean that you are church-bound. That's why I use the word God-led. You're not a church boy. You're not church-bound. Yours is beyond the four walls of the church. You are kingdom-bound. So you can really be anywhere. Now, these questions, I'm really contemplating. What do you think? Admin, speak to me. I am thinking, do we have another session where we tackle these questions? And the people who even ask these questions even yet. I've got a couple of questions. These questions are not questions, they are deep questions. So I'm thinking of maybe picking a few, and I can maybe record the other ones, or we do another live at a different time in the community, or maybe I complete the questions in the 14 days Valentine theme challenge. What do you think? Which you need to be a part of it, by the way. You need to be a part of it. Don't even miss that challenge. Okay, good. You know what? The people that are here with their questions, I will start answering them. So somebody I asked a question about divorce, so I'll start with that one. Because there are a number of questions here that need a lot of depth to it. So, and I don't just want to be talking to the screen. This is a live program. If I'm recording a recorded video, I'll know. So I want to be sure that as I'm putting it and I'm saying, does this mean this? Does this mean that? Because I may need to ask one or two questions as I'm answering. The person is present. So just indicate I asked a question or something. I mean, honestly, I like the person who shared that. So I'm not going to, of course, say for the purpose of recording, but thank you. If you did that, just like the other lady who just said, I asked a question about this, just indicate, so I will answer your own question. I think I should give priority to people. I will not be able to answer all the questions in this live call, but I definitely, myself and my team, will work on completing all the questions. That's not a big deal at all. So what do you think about getting married to a man who is divorced? Is that correct? Please put your chat again in the chat. Let me see you. I believe that's your question. What do you think about getting married to a man who is divorced? Okay, good. So the thing about getting married to a man who is divorced, thank you for asking the question, is just like any other man, this man, just like any other man that you meet, this man also has to have criteria that are important, that makes him a marriage-minded and a marriageable man. In today's world, things like a person is widowed, things like a person is divorced is not really longer a big deal, and shouldn't, because we now have therapy, we now have coaching, we now have help, truly. So it shouldn't. What you need to understand is that you need to understand your own unique dynamics. Does this person have a child? If you have some questions, or you're okay, if you have the answers, or you're okay answering it via the chat, you can. If you're not comfortable, you can leave it. I'll just go on answering based on the general information I have. If he has a child, that speaks to you stepping into what would be a blended family, because there's a high likelihood that you would also want to have a child, except maybe you don't want to have a child, or there's a medical problems. Most times the woman can have a child. So if you want to get into a man who is divorced, the first step is to outline what are the special conditions that I need to think about and consider. Number one is the family dynamics. Family dynamics, not even about just beyond your own primary family, but I'm talking about family dynamics even in the extended families. This person had an iyawo, this person had a wife, so the in-laws, are they still in touch? How does it work with the in-laws? In-laws met, hopefully got married, all things being equal, got married legally. Now they say they're not together. Like, first of all, what's that dynamics like? Let's say he has to explain to you, how do the in-laws still come to visit? Do they visit their children if you have children? So you need to create a checklist of the special dynamics that you're going to face, because your own is not, it's a bit different. But do you think getting married, what do you think about getting married? I think it is absolutely, there's absolutely no problem if the man has gone through the process of solving whatever the issue was. The divorced man in picture in question now depends on what exactly was the reason for the divorce. There are people who it was their wife that was the reason for the divorce. There's people who is the husband. There's people who is the both of them. So you need to get the clear picture, as per the objective clear picture, not one person's side of the story who tells you all this fancy story like they didn't contribute to the problem, meanwhile they're the problem rather. So all of those things you need to sort it out. You write the comprehensive checklist of your concerns, your comprehensive checklist of concern. How do you want to do working with the people who have known the wife before? Maybe if you guys have a church or a mosque that you go to with you as a new wife, are you going to pack away from the house, your own property? How would you blend in with the neighbors without it looking weird? All of those things need to be discussed, and the best people to discuss it with is to sit down with a professional like me, who is a licensed marriage and family therapist, for us to go through. There's like this whole checklist that we need to go through, and people need to start putting budget for counseling. Like, it's not even a joke. The problems that people have that they're refusing to solve because they're thinking of money is hurting them more than it is saving them. That one is by the way. So you go through all of that and you understand, you're going to understand what you have to deal with, and you to ask yourself genuinely and sincerely if you're ready for it. Yeah. Now, it doesn't mean that this checklist thing is going to give you the whole picture, but it's going to give you an idea of what you have. So it's not that you are just in fantasy land of it's just telling you, it's you I love, it's your no, there's much more to getting married to a divorced man beyond him telling you that it's you. It truly probably is you he loves, but you need to sort all this out. And are there things that are there that he has not sorted out? You would also need to sort it out as well. Say personal things, trauma. What are some of the triggers? How does he expect you now to be a wife? Is he going to be comparing you secretly or unintentionally with his former wife? What you know, all of those things are things that, I mean, if you guys have the time and you don't have the budget, buy a lot of books, you buy plenty of books, you read, then you'll be reviewing. I'm saying books on marriage. I'm just giving alternatives that, okay, what are people do? But it's just, the truth is, it's like saying, yeah, I mean, medically, there is the importance of getting to experts. However, you can live a very healthy life. However, educational resources would always help you. Resources like this, resources like the ones I record, and other ones too on YouTube and different other places. So whether you're going to work with a therapist, put out a budget for that, or you're going to start from the very basic, maybe just working with resources depending on your budget, it'll be good for you to, you guys need to work on that to not have a marriage, a head start to a marriage with a lot of headache. Let me know if there's anything regarding that question, maybe a part B that you'd like to be answered. Please, who else is here? Which I want to answer the questions of people who are here. Who else? We have a, if you don't identify yourself, I'll just pick two questions and the rest I'll answer later. So who else is here that wants their question to be answered? Thank you too. I'm not calling your name for the purpose of recording, but of course I see you. I see your name. Thank you. Who else asked the question that wanted to be answered? We have a couple of questions. We're not answering all the questions tonight, but I want to answer the questions of the people on the live. Those are people I want to honor. Did you ask me a question and you're on this live? Please indicate. I can answer your question before we close out. Okay, this is an interactive conversation. I'm just wondering the silence. This is not a I'm here because of you. It's not. I could have been rested. That's why I'm wondering. We not gathered just for my teaching, which I'm done teaching. We gathered so that we can interact. Now we are here. If we are not interacting, then what are we doing? What's the purpose of this call? So, did you ask a question that you would like me to respond to right here live? Because I'm prioritizing people that are on the live call. The fact that you honor the call, I need to have that conversation with you. Other people that sent their secret questions that have gone to sleep, we'll get back to you. We're going to get back to you later to share the medium of how we'll answer the questions. No biggie. Yes, if you sent your question via the form, I just need like a keyword. I need a keyword just like this other lady. Then I'll answer it. Yes, I need a keyword. Like I need a code word. Oh, I asked a question on misrepresentation. I asked a question on emotional. That's what I need. So that's what I need. For those who have asked a question, yeah, I'm not answering all the questions. So let me give you the gist. I'm not sure the question right now, but the fact that you are on the live, for those who honored the live, because like I said, it was not easy for me to even make it here at this time, but you honored the live. Let me answer your question, then answer other people's questions later. Let's get back to other people's questions later who are not here and who did not honor the live call. So just give a code word. Oh, I asked a question on involving or something. I'll look through these questions and I'll get to it. That's all. That's all I'm asking. Because if I pick randomly and you're on the call, I may not pick your question. That's the deal. That's the big deal. Okay, good, got it. And I'm not calling people's names. We promised confidentiality. This is going to be, the live will be there. So I'm not calling your names, and it's fine. People will not see this interaction in the live, so don't worry about it. Emotional unavailability. Let me look for that question. One moment. Okay, wait. You can also drop your questions, or we don't need to wait again. So I will not, because after her, if I answer her own question, I will just pick one random question and we'll close out. Again, this is a live, I cannot overemphasize, this is a live show. So we have to, that's the essence of live. So that we are live with each other, not that I'll just be talking. I have so many talking videos on YouTube. This is not one of the purpose. That's not the purpose of this. Emotional unavailability. Let's see. Is your question, can emotional unavailability be healed in a committed relationship? And if so, how does that realistically look like in a marriage context? This is why I want to honor the people who are live on this call, because this question, I need to ask questions. Is this your question? Can emotional unavailability be healed in a committed relationship? Question. This is the child of the question. And if so, how does that realistically look like in a marriage context? Now this is the grandchild. Emotional unavailability being healed in a committed relationship. If so, how does that realistically look like? The thing is, this question has a deeper context. Let me see how to answer it generally. Are you comfortable providing more clarity on why you asked this question? If you are not, fine, just answer it on the general mode. But if you want specific mode, I will need like more specific details. Like, why are you asking the question? That is like a very specific detail I will need, because can emotional unavailability be healed in a committed relationship? The question then will now be, why should we be trying to heal emotional unavailability in a committed relationship? It is a committed relationship. There is supposed to be emotional availability. You understand? So why are we trying to heal it? Why are we, if you're not comfortable going further with the question, it's fine. I will just speak to it. It's totally okay. That's not a problem. So emotional unavailability, why are we trying to heal it? The very fact that this question is being asked means that there's a problem. Because the question now goes on, so if so, how does that realistically look like in a marriage context? No, emotional unavailability should not enter marriage. It shouldn't. Okay. So yeah, I'm speaking to it. Whether it's you yourself or your partner, you work on it. Like the heal, if it can be healed, I want to change the question to, can it be resolved? Can it be worked on? So what emotional availability should be, or what we should now be discussing, is how the emotional unavailability should be worked on. If the person is reacting from a place of always used to being with people who have always been emotional unavailable, so therefore this is how this person is just now acting, like that's their default, then let's talk about what is causing that person to be emotionally unavailable, and let's talk about healing it. So it shouldn't be that you know, we are now managing, like, oh, maybe can it now be healed in it. No, we shouldn't. The healing should be, except that's what you meant by the question, the healing should be personal. Like it should be, if you're emotionally unavailable, let us diagnose you, let's find out why are you emotionally unavailable, what is making you emotionally unavailable. So we will get to that, we will diagnose that for the individual. Can it be healed? Can it be worked on? Yes. But as per, if this question means emotional unavailability be healed, like maybe the person is emotionally unavailable to the other person should not be healing from the emotional unavailability, then how does that look like in a marriage? No, it shouldn't be carried forward to a marriage, because it's a problem. If you cannot be there emotionally for a person, please do not get married. And if your dynamics is like I encourage women to get married to men in the force, in the police force, army, navy seals and all that, then you speak about what emotional availability means for you in that. There are some people who go offshore, they're not in the navy seals, all that other, but they're in the oil companies and they travel. You guys want to define, what does emotional availability look like for the both of you, and does it work for both parties? It's not that one person will now define it, the other person is the school of thought follower. Both of you must come together to collaborate your school of thought. Do you understand? So this emotional unavailability thing, because emotional availability means different things to different people. For some people, they want to cozy up with their husbands all day. For some people, it's not that deep. And not that they don't love each other, it's just that's not what I want to do. I have other ways of doing. So you guys define it. And if you ask, maybe if you're in a relationship with this person now, the person who asks this question, ask yourself first, what does emotional availability mean for me, and what does emotional unavailability mean for me? Then you ask your partner or your partner to be, what does emotional availability mean for you, and what does unavailability mean for you? Then you look at it, look at the list, and you ask if it works. The thing is, it doesn't mean not be like, oh, it doesn't work, bye, goodbye. Sometimes it's not that simple. If a person has a rather strange list or definition of what emotional of availability, rather, of what emotional availability means for them, you may now want to go further to probe on, why is this your definition about what emotional availability is for you? Like, why does emotional availability not involve checking up on your partner, for instance? Because as we're saying that different people have different lists, there are also some things that it just cuts across. Like, you cannot not be kind, and you say, oh, in our relationship we are not kind, that's our own emotional availability. It's not possible. That one is not a love relationship. So there are some basic things that cuts across, and there's some other things that can be personalized based on the dynamics of the relationship and how both parties want the your relationship to operate. So that is the accurate answer. And you should not be in an emotional unavailable relationship. If the person seems to be emotionally unavailable, the person may not understand your definition of what emotional availability means, and the person probably, because they don't understand this, is not serving you in that regard. You may want to sit down and have what they call a come to Jesus talk and say, listen, these are the terms of engagement. This is what emotional availability means for you. What does it mean for you? Because it doesn't look like we're in sync here. And as for the second part of the marriage, the question, you don't even want to know what this looks like in marriage, because I was in a session that was going for hours today, and one of the reasons for the separation is emotional. One of it is emotional unavailability. Like, that marriage is ending. The marriage is coming to an end. So we're just working on resolution and all that. And emotional unavailability is one of the keys. So it's a very important part. Very, very important part when it comes to relationship, talk less about marriage. That is a very good question. Did that answer work for you? Please let me know if you've got further questions. I like that question. Well done. That's a good question. Which other person is available live to get their question answered? All you need to do is just give the code word of the question you asked. That's all. You don't need to come and paste everything here. Just give the code word. I asked a question on emotional safety. I asked a question on, whatever. Just give the code word. I would wait for 2 minutes. Then I'll pick one random question. All right, I'm glad. I'll pick one random question and we call it a day. Who else? Like I said, I'm honoring people who appeared on the live, because this is a conversation. This is not a monologue. So who else have asked their question secretly, or is present here to get the answers, please? Who else? And if you didn't ask your question via the secret link and you have a question, you can ask it now before we wrap up, please. Like I said, the other people will get back to them. We have a community. We'll communicate how we'll answer the other questions. If you're not here anyways, there's no rush. But for the people that are here, we want to answer your own question. Who else is here that's available to get their question answered? All right, you can use the chat in case you don't know how to communicate. And if you did not send in your question earlier via the anonymous link, you can just drop your question via the chat. Is there anybody, or should I move on to picking the last random question and we call it a day? Meanwhile, while I'm picking the heart-to-heart question, is there any question from the teaching? Okay, how do you, I need to get this. Yes, I need my live chats on. How do you know when your heart is genuinely attached to the person versus attached to the idea of who you hope they could become? I have a video on the idea of him, so it will be good that you look for that video on the Meet Your Partner playlist. I don't know if there's no video that I don't have. I have a video on everything. It's quite amazing. Thanks be to God for that. So let me go back to that question. So yes, how do you know when your heart is genuinely attached to the person versus attached to the idea of who you hoped they could become? So watch that video, but I'll just answer it briefly here. But that video will give you like the details of what you need, because you need something. That's why you're asking that question. When it comes to the getting to the idea of a person versus where you hope they'll become versus potential, this is where you also talk about marrying potential versus it always starts with having the right expectations of marriage. Who are you What have you been called to do? And which kind of person, who do you need to get married to, that you need to work with and also serve as well, and both of you will partner together to solve the problems in the world that God has called you both. Now, who should you be getting married to? All of these things in terms of who you are, what you've been called to do, what it is you also desire, because you're also there to also serve the vision of the man as well. It's not just, oh, just to marry you, just to make you happy, but you're also there to serve his vision as well. All of those things should come together to help you understand what it means. I hope you can still hear me. Okay, should help you understand what exactly the kind of marriage you need to step into. Like, what are the checklists of the kind of person you should be getting married to? Purpose wise, that should determine that. Then also just the checklist of the kind of individual, the kind human being that you should be getting married to. And that's why I always say, I have resources that would help you with these questions, checklists, workbooks, and so on and so forth. But that's why I always say, let's think about what really is marriage. I think this would help to answer this question. When you know what is marriage, again, these questions, these videos, I've done it. They're all on the SAGENEL TV page. What is SAGENEL TV on YouTube? What is marriage? All of these things I'm trying to look at because the question keeps disappearing. How do you? What is marriage? All of these things would help you to fine tune and help you to prioritize what you should be prioritizing in terms of attachment, the right person for you, who you should work with, who you shouldn't work with, and so on and so forth. Because you can be attached to an idea of a person who is not a marriageable partner for you. You like them, you like their steez, you like their composure, you like their branding, but they're just not that come home body. They're just not that person who you can call home, because that is not based on, for you, or not, it may be for someone else, based on your calling and some of the important things that are biblical checklists. This is not even a private checklist for who you should be getting married to. This person doesn't just cut it, but you can't know all of these things until you start out a conversation. So the whole idea of a person, when your heart is genuinely attached to the person versus attached to the idea of who you hope they become, starts to come out when you are clearly zooming into marital talks, and you can see that maybe this person is not who you need, or who needs you, who you need, or who is the right fit person to get into marriage with, but you just want to keep on with this person for other ulterior motive. So there's a lot to unpack with that question, actually, beyond that, because the questions that you're sharing, which I really like it, are deep questions that have different layers, and also, of course, obviously stems from a very deep place. Some of these questions are also best addressed to in counseling sessions, where we can examine the context to really understand the full picture. That way we're able to give an accurate answer, because all of the things I can share here are general answers. But for you specifically, go and watch that video, The Idea of Him, the Meet Your Husband playlist, and you'll be able to get some further knowledge for the specific question that you're asking. All right. So, do we have people here who want their questions answered? You have asked your question before and you want it answered. Like, you asked your question through the anonymous link and you are here to watch the response. Okay. So I'll close out with this random question. The question is asking, once emotional safety is compromised multiple times, how should a person evaluate whether to stay or to step back? So the first question I'm going to ask is, what does it mean emotional safety is compromised? What exactly do you mean? I need to understand what emotional safety being compromised means for you. That's one. That will be question one. I need to understand that. Number two, when you say how should a person evaluate whether or not to step back, this kind of question, quite frankly, is either best like in a closed group session where you are giving feedback to follow up your questions, or a one-on-one counseling session. Because okay, so now how should a person evaluate whether to stay? That is dependent on number one, what is emotional safety, and how do we determine whether it has been compromised? Question two. Question three, even before we go to how should you stay back, the person that seems to be compromising this emotional safety, do they even know that this is what they are doing? Are they aware of this? Or is this something that is unintentional, that if it is brought to their attention, there's something they're going to turn around and stop and be so apologetic for, or apologetic of? So these are questions to ask. If the person is even doing this, what is informing or triggering a person to put you in a space of emotional unsafety? All of these things are things. Then about evaluating whether to stay back or to step back or to stay, it definitely is a whole checklist of things, including if the other person, one of the criteria is including if the other person is even willing to work on themselves. Not everybody that is not making a relationship work is a bad person who can never be a great partner in marriage. No, people grow. It's just the willingness is what we need to see. And then the milestones. It's not that willingness, audio willingness. We're just winning. Then what about the milestones to determine that, this person is actually growing? That's why sessions are great places where it's a great place where a person can come to and be like, you know what, these are the things I want from my life and I want to change. Sometimes you'll be surprised that some of these guys, they really even want to change. It's because they didn't have a great example. And a lot of women things promoted, women this, women that, women this one to meet your husband now. But how many people are doing things for the guys? So sometimes if you are able to influence a man in your life, that's a fantastic thing. That's a very fantastic thing. I still read this book over again. May I so continue to blossom and rest in peace. Bimbo Odukoya's Life and Legacy of Bimbo Odukoya's book. I'm looking at it right now in my library. Life and Times rather of Bimbo Odukoya, like a legacy. And it was really fascinating when I read it in I think it's about 10 years. I read it 10 years ago. Yeah, I read 10 years ago, and I reread it early this year. Just because, or was it late last year? I think it was early this year. I reread it again. That's 10 years apart. And she was one of the Fountain of Life Church today. That's for those who know the Fountain of Life Church in Ilupeju, Lagos, Nigeria. Pastor Bimbo Odukoya was part of the people who also propelled now late Pastor Taiwo into becoming a better person spiritually. Yeah, she was one of the people who were asking, about spiritual questions. Have you read? I think one of the first time they even met, it was like, have you given your life to Christ? Something like that, because she had given her life to Christ. Even I'm not now sure. I think even before him, thereabout. But the point is, she would always ask spiritual question. Have you done this? Have you done that? What's your this? What's it's so funny. So sometimes when people, and of course today they were able to get married, and he continued in the spiritual leadership. What I'm trying to say is that women can motivate, can inspire a man. It's not, I know that things are now messy where it looks like some men want to be lazy, they don't want to do anything. Now that's a different case. But I'm talking about a man who has really been looking to see the light, and he sees the light, and he can see it through a woman who inspires and motivates him. That's a classy thing, and that's an unforgettable thing. There's nothing wrong with that. So I'm saying a person who looked like the person had a point of no return could be a person that could be mentoring others and could be totally transformed if he's put in the right environment. Let's remember that everybody that is now either a great person or a horrible person was once a baby, and it's quite unfortunate the environment that these people grew up in determined, of course, after a while, their choices too, but the environment, the growing up, and some of the pointers that determined the kind of direction these people were going. Unfortunately, they probably did not have the environment, the resource, or the relationship to point them to make the right decisions, and they just kept going. So we should also be open to helping each other. That's how I want to close out. We should also see our men as our brothers, who God can use our lives, just like Pastor Bimbo did in the life of our husband and many other stories. God can use our lives to inspire their lights. Yeah, to inspire their light. And it's not waiting to say, oh, you're waiting for one kind of man. Before, if you inspire, you don't even know what is waiting in a lot of these men. If they are put in the right environment, the kind of person that they will become, you have no idea. And you could be a person who inspires that. But before I say that, it's very important, because there's this conversation about spirituality. I'm not going to get there. Who is more spiritual, who is less spiritual. I'm not going to enter that right now. But I want to say that there are milestones to calculate that a person is actually growing. There's a timeline and all that. Like, there are actually things that we can track and trace. It's not that we're just motivational about it, or we're just emotional about it. So these are questions to be answered, quite frankly. And maybe if we have enough people for it, we can start having closed group counseling for singles, where you just come, you pay a particular fee, just a generous fee, something basic, and then we just have that closed group of a few people. Of course, it won't be streamed live or anything, and then we can have some of these questions tackled out for people who may not currently have the budget for one-on-one therapy sessions. So we can look into that, and if you're interested in that, you can also share that in the comment or via WhatsApp. That's for people that really have pending questions. All right, how did today's events make you feel? What have you learned from today's event? We've come to the end of today's event. What have you learned, and how are you feeling? What are you going home with? Happy Valentine's Day, by the way. So can we have us indicate in the comments, what are we going on with? What's, who are we becoming after this event? Do not forget to register for the 14 days Valentine themed challenge. When I tell you that event is good and the outcome is really good, I'm telling you, it has testimonials. It's a really good one. So all right, is my admin here so that we can close out for today? Do we have any comments, or we can continue to place those comments via the WhatsApp community? We've come to the end of today's session. I acknowledge and I appreciate those who honored this meeting by being live for the live, because the essence of being live, even though there's going to be a replay, is not to watch the replay. It's to actually have the live conversation, which is what we've been having. Like I said, this I could have done in a recorded manner. Like, it would even be less stress for me. But of course, we're doing this because I wanted to see you. I wanted us to talk, and I also wanted to wish you a happy Valentine's Day. You could share in the comments how this conversation has been for you. But I'm I'm closing out now. We would continue to have the conversation via WhatsApp. We'll also get back to how we'll correspond with the other questions. That's not really a big issue. If the people were here, they would have also shared. So the people who ask the questions, like, they're not here for the live, so they will get their answers in due time. Since it's not urgent, because if it was urgent, they would be here. It doesn't seem urgent, so it's fine. Thank you, Father, for today's program. Well, thank you for the day that you have made. We rejoice and we're glad in it. We pray, Lord Jesus, that you help us to remember this wisdom, and according to your word, we continue to go for to exude this wisdom, Lord. Help us to know the next step to take after this teaching, and provide for us for every single thing that we need on the journey to meeting and marrying our husband. Thank you, King of Glory, for today's class. Thank you for the coming together, and thank you for the fulfillment of what today's class has brought. Thank you for helping a wife to move closer to meeting and marrying her husband. In Jesus' name we've prayed. Amen. All right then. This has been a great nearly 2 hours. I thank you so much for your time. And for those who registered, we'll continue to see in the community. Have a fantastic day. Do not forget to subscribe. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe. And of course, there are other content for you to keep watching.